Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden gave closing statements back-to-back at the debate. And you're going to see a stark difference here. I'm going to play it, all the way through, no cuts or anything. And it's night and day. You're going to see, somebody who's barely coherent. You're going to see somebody who's serious and cares about the issues. And just the dichotomy here is something else. Watch.
Senator Sanders.
It's been a good debate, but we haven't asked the major question. The major question is, how does it happen in the richest country in the history of the world that half of our people are living paycheck to paycheck, trying to get by $9-10 an hour? How does it happen that when the top 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 92%, 500,000 people are sleeping out on the streets tonight? How does it happen in this great country? We are the only major nation not to guarantee health care to all. How does it happen that we have a child care system which is dysfunctional, a criminal justice system which is broken and racist, an immigration system that needs reform? This is the moment when we have got to think big, not small. This is the moment where we have got to have the courage to take on the 1%, take on the greed and corruption of the corporate elite, and create an economy and create a government that works for all of us, not just the 1%. Thank you.
Vice President Biden.
Character is on the ballot this time around. The American character is on the ballot. Not what Donald Trump is spewing out, the hate, the xenophobia, the racism. That's not who we are as a nation. Everyone in this country is entitled to be treated with respect and dignity. Every single solitary person has to have in a position that way, in fact, we treat them with decency. It's about fundamental basic decency. We in the United States of America can we can overcome 4 years of Donald Trump. But 8 years of Donald Trump will be an absolute disaster and fundamentally change this nation. We have to restore America's soul, as I've said from the moment I announced. It is in jeopardy under this President of the United States. We lead the world when we lead by example, not by our power. We, in fact, have to regain the respect of the world in order to be able to change things. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in a position right now, we have to remember who we are. This is the United States of America. There's not a single thing beyond our capacity to do. If we do it together, let's go do it.
There's not a single thing we can't do except Medicare for all, except free college, except ending the wars, except the Green New Deal, and except about 412 other left-wing priorities that are super important that we actually have to do and should do. I'm getting really annoyed with this because he does this every debate. We can do anything. There's not a single thing we can't do. And, everybody on Twitter points it out immediately. But you just spent 30 minutes arguing that Medicare for all is not possible and we shouldn't do it. I mean, come on, man. It's just pick another line because that one's obviously nonsense and people see right through it. And nobody's pointed out on stage yet. Bernie, I need you to get on that, man. I need you to point out, well, granted, this was the end of the debate and Bernie couldn't say anything at the end there, but because he says this during the debate too, you got to point it out.
Wait, Joe, you just said there's nothing we can't do, but you also said let's not do Medicare for all. I don't understand.
So that is annoying. Now, but look at the dichotomy there. And this is, I'm pleading with anybody who's leaning Joe Biden who may have happened to come across this segment. I know most of my audience is not for Joe Biden, to say the least. But you're not going to beat Trump with this. You're not going to beat Trump with the Joe Biden talk there. Guys, this election is about our character. It's about getting respect and dignity as a country back. It's about America's soul. Everything he says is just airy-fairy nonsense. It's just, I'm for good things and against bad things, and the real problem is Trump. But the problem goes beyond Trump. Yes, Trump is a problem, but also the conditions that led to his rise are the root problem. And the sense I get is that Biden is a status quo defender, and he won't do much to address those root problems, so we might get even a worse Trump in the future. You're not going to beat Trump with platitudes and cliches. You're not going to beat Trump by talking about America's soul and respect and dignity. The back to normalcy nonsense doesn't work because Hillary Clinton ran on that same thing. Hey, vote for me, I'll continue the status quo. and she lost. So, but listen, you saw the contrast. Bernie, when he's talking, what did he hit a bunch of different issues. He brought up homelessness, talked about the number of homeless people we have in the country, talked about how we can do Medicare for all, we could cover everybody with health care. He talked about how we desperately need criminal justice reform, immigration reform. He kept hitting important policy points while talking about the broader idea of we need a political revolution. Now's the time to do it. And then you go to Biden and it's just milk toast all day long, character, respect, dignity, platitudes, cliches. This is America. What does that mean? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? He doesn't tell you. Why? Because he wants to have all the options on the table when he's president. He's not going to commit to a left agenda. And we all know that as president, he wouldn't pursue a real left agenda. So that contrast was stark. And what Biden is showing there is this is not the guy to stand up to Trump. The return to normalcy stuff is uninspiring by definition. Whereas Bernie's talking about a whole new thing, hammering away on policy, hammering away on the overarching themes, which are super important. And to me, that choice is clear as day. And at this point, the Bernie campaign is banking on him doing really well in the first 4 contests, and then as a result of that, taking momentum into Super Tuesday. But we can't have mixed results in the first 4 contests because then Biden is a big favorite because he's leading in a lot of the Super Tuesday states. And what an epic disaster that would be if we had Biden versus Trump in 2020. Oh man, would that be terrible.